Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This week, we're going to have a quick conversation with Zach. Zach, welcome to the show.
Hey Tony, how are you?
Good, thank you. So glad to have you on here. With that said, let's just dive right into the one word open. Can you give us one word to, tell the audience and I how you're feeling as, it's my famous open air. So what's that one word you could use right now?
Tony, I am pumped.
Awesome.
I'm pumped to
Let's
be in
kick
the
it off
Shap
with,
zone.
yeah, I love it. Let's kick it off with, tell us about your business. Tell us about your background. Take the next 2 to 4 minutes. Tell us all about that.
Sure. Background is we're a branded content company, which basically means we create videos that are not ads. So anything that you would come across that more of a story-driven piece, more of a docu-series or web series, comedy video, but they come from brands instead of from publishers like you might be used to seeing on YouTube or streaming platforms. So our background, most of the background on the team is in the creative field, not in marketing. So we're either in production or film and television, in my case, writing. And we've kind of come together to try to continue to make the case to brands that they're better off in the entertainment business than in product differentiation.
Great. Talk to us about the pandemic. How did you pivot? We all dealt with that pain. It's worldwide, and some people survived, some people didn't. But we all learned a lot. So tell the audience and
Yeah.
how you pivoted and what you learned from, you know, coming out of pandemic.
I don't know when the day was. There was March, some mid March when really everything shut down. We were in Times Square on a production high up in a high rise in Times Square. And we looked down, and there was like no one in the middle of Times Square. It was incredibly eerie and very strange. It was like an apocalyptic movie. A production got hit really hard. We couldn't for about 3 or 4 months. We couldn't produce anything. We couldn't go out. No one could go anywhere, so we couldn't go out and create any new content for a while. During that time, we had a mix, more so then than now, actually. We had a mix of retainer clients that we would do other post-production things for and stuff that didn't require on-set content creation. But we got hit. I mean, it was a hard, I would say 6 to 10 months was really tricky. We definitely cut back some of the contractors we had relationships with. But we constantly every day we tried something new. I mean, we just tried some new post production thing. We created new offerings. We teamed up with some brands that we knew we could do kind of crisis response videos for, other things that could supplement the schedule that we had, which was not tenable to keep during that window. But like a lot of great businesses, we've been able to bounce back, and the future is bright.
Awesome. What about some recent wins? Tell us something that you encountered in business that you would consider a win within the last, like, let's just say Q1. What was that win, and what was your takeaway from it?
Some wins. We're growing. I mean, we're fine. You know how it is. I mean, you feel like you're never going to get to a point where you're being pulled along. It's always pushing, pushing, pushing. By five, we feel now we're in the fifth year. We feel that we're being propelled along through reputation and referral and those things. And that kind of sense of, I don't want to call it comfort because I don't think you should ever be comfortable, but that sense of satisfaction of knowing that we build something that the market is realizing is valuable, I think has come along in the last 6 months or so, for sure. So I would consider that a win. We've got clients that are more interested in more experimental storytelling, more creative, branded content. We did a short film a few weeks ago. We got another one next month. We're doing a comedy series for the New York Post starting this month in 2 weeks. We have we're doing we actually have a partnership with a TikTok agency where we're making kind of, I would say, creative series to run on TikTok, which didn't sound something I thought we would ever do. But listen, there's now opportunities out there, so we're trying to seize that as well. So we're trying to story tell wherever people will have us.
Also, tell us a failure that you experienced and your takeaway from that too.
Sure. I think that I think that one thing that entrepreneurs do, I think that one thing that people who are optimistic do is they project the best possible outcome onto every situation. And I think especially in probably right before the pandemic and through the pandemic, there were a few opportunities that we pursued so optimistically at the expense of reality. And so that can happen to you. I think when you're still naive about how the fact that most things don't always come to fruition. Most things don't work out. You have to kind of learn that discerning eye for what is going to be the opportunity you should put your heart and soul into, and what are the things that are not a match. And it's hard to say things are not a match because you're a young business and you want everything to work. So I think learning when to realize early on that something's not for you, and gracefully walking away is a lesson that I've learned a few times.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What about you? We'd love to hear your point of view on thought leadership. Like, what are the top three things that when you look at someone and they're considered a thought leader in your opinion, and you go, hey, these are the top three things I see in someone which would make me call them a thought leader. What would that look, what would those three things be?
That's a great question. So I mean, I think that we're really knocked out when we're it's same thing in writing and the literary world. Like, you're knocked out when someone tells you something that you have always kind of known, but you've never managed to articulate before. That moment is incredible. And if you can do that, either in fiction, I see some of the books behind you, and some of those books do that, right? And I've read some of those, and some of them, you're so amazed that you have gone through life knowing that in the back of your mind, but you never managed to exactly form the words. And so I think that thought leadership taps into that. And obviously, let's be, I mean, it's become a term where that's been hijacked, and people, we don't know a lot of people don't know exactly what it means anymore. But I think of it, to answer your question, as this is someone who it's sewing a narrative out of all the chaos that we're experiencing. I mean, life has never been noisier, and our business has never been, and business in general you never had more options, more ways to move forward. And so to have someone come along and put it all in a neat narrative bow is incredibly appealing, and it makes you think about your own life and your own business in a new way.
That's awesome. What about company culture? I would love to hear from your perspective. I know you got an amazing company culture. So if you could share that with the audience, hey, what did you have to sacrifice, or what did you have to be excellent at in order to, the outcome to be an awesome culture for your organization? What was that?
Yeah, well, during the pandemic, I mean, production is usually remote. I mean, we work with tons of creators, right? Either all over different, from comedians to actors to writers to cinematographers and editors, and in-house, we're not a huge team in-house. There's 6 or 7 of us in-house, and we're based between New York City and Nashville, Tennessee. So we don't, and during the pandemic, no one had much time to be together physically, and we definitely suffered from that. And you do suffer. I think you lose something when you don't have that camaraderie, that in-person camaraderie. But we just try to have fun with it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's stressful, but we always say, like, there's no better job.
Gotcha. Let's talk about your typical
So,
clients. Oh, keep
sorry.
going. Oh, keep going. Keep going.
Just the idea that there's no better job than this, and we all kind of realize that, I think, is the glue that keeps everybody tight.
Awesome. There was a little bit of delay, my
Sorry.
apologies
Yeah.
for that.
No.
Very good. So what about let's shift over to your typical clients. So what is your typical client, your sweet spot of a client, and also tell us like what challenges they're having, which that's when if they're, so here they are, here's what they're facing and challenges, and then this is when it would make sense for them to reach out to you guys.
Sure. So we will work with brands at multiple levels. Either we've worked with a lot at the mid-tier level where they're, maybe they can see the 3 or 4 other kind of competitors that are right ahead of them, and they want to find a way to differentiate themselves through the vehicle of story. Or we have worked with some great leading brands that are already, they don't necessarily need to find some great new shiny way to stand out. They're already, kind of crushing it in their field, but they're at the point where they want to experiment. They want to go for legacy. They want to find some way to create narratives that are going to create a new relationship with their followers. So I would say those 2 types are a great match. And the pain point, usually if your brand has hit a certain level of success, they've found some mousetrap that works for them, either through digital ads or through some mechanism of digital marketing, modern, data related marketing. And so that is very good tactical move. And most brands, they hit that stride and they're very excited, but they also realize at the same time that all of those things tend to have a life cycle. They tend to peak and they tend to drop. And so when a lot of them kind of come together and they say, well, what are we doing to define ourselves to people so that we're emblazoned in their memories and in their, kind of synonymous with how they feel about us, not just the discounts that they're going to get or the limited time offer that we're making them. And that's, I think, where we have a really interesting conversation, and we try to extract their brand values and match it to stories that we think could be very meaningful to their followers.
Great. So now that someone got a chance to listen to you and they may want to find out more information, give us your social handles and your website address. That way they can check you out.
Yeah, sure. You can find us on Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, Human Factor Media. And then our website is humanfactormedia.co. That has our work and our clients, our awards, things like that.
Awesome. There you have it, folks. Thank you so much. You give us some good nuggets to walk away with after this, listen to this. So with that said, can you sign us off with a one-word close?
Gratitude, Tony. Grateful for you, my friend.
Zach, same here. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks so much.